The fire did not ask Logan for permission before it entered his life. It arrived silently. It arrived patiently. Before we go any further, if this message speaks to something buried inside you, subscribe to this channel right now, share this with a friend who is struggling in silence, and stay with me until the end. Because this story is not just Logan's story, it is yours. Logan was not born strong. He was not born fearless. He was not born chosen. He was born ordinary. And ordinary was the first prison he ever learned to hate. Every morning he woke up with the same heaviness in his chest. The kind of weight that does not show on the body, but bends the spine anyway. The kind of pressure that makes breathing feel like work. The kind that whispers, not loudly but constantly, that this is all life will ever be. People around him smiled. They laughed. They moved forward. Logan stayed still, not because he wanted to, but because something inside him was frozen. He knew what he should do. He knew what discipline looked like. He knew what effort required. But knowing and moving are not the same thing. Every night he promised himself tomorrow would be different. And every morning he betrayed that promise before the sun fully rose. That betrayal builds a special kind of hell. A quiet one. A private one. No demons screaming. No flames visible to others. Just the slow erosion of self-respect. Logan began to hate mirrors. Not because of how he looked, but because of who looked back. The eyes staring at him were tired. Not tired from work, tired from regret. That is when hell truly opened. It did not come as pain first. It came as numbness. Days blurred together. Weeks disappeared. Time moved forward without him. And then one night, alone in a room filled with silence so loud it hurt, Logan realized something terrifying. No one was coming. No savior. No miracle. No sudden transformation. If his life was going to change, it would have to be dragged out of darkness by force. That thought scared him, but it also did something else. It made him angry. Not loud anger, not explosive anger. A cold anger, sharp, focused. He stood up that night not because he felt motivated, but because he felt disgusted with staying down. This is the first truth of hell. Hell does not end when you feel ready. Hell ends when staying becomes more painful than moving. Logan began with nothing heroic. No dramatic music, no audience, just one decision: to stop lying to himself. He stopped asking how to feel confident. He stopped asking how to feel strong. Instead, he asked a different question. What would a man who respects himself do next? That question followed him everywhere. When he wanted to quit, it asked again. When he wanted to hide, it stood in front of him. When excuses formed, it crushed them silently. Hell does not release you all at once. It tests whether you deserve the exit. Logan failed many times, but he failed forward. Each failure burned something weak out of him. Each mistake sharpened his awareness. Pain became a teacher. Discomfort became familiar. Fear stopped being an enemy and became a signal. This was Logan's hell. Not fire around him, fire inside him. And as the days passed, something changed. He stopped chasing motivation. He stopped waiting for confidence. He moved anyway. And when you move without confidence, something powerful happens. Confidence begins to chase you. Logan did not escape hell quickly. He walked through it slowly, deliberately, fully awake, because the only way out of hell is straight through it. And deep inside that suffering, buried beneath exhaustion and doubt, a new version of him began to form. Not loud, not flashy, unbreakable. The unbreakable version did not arrive with confidence. It arrived with silence. It arrived with discipline chosen in moments no one would ever see. If this voice is speaking directly to your struggle, subscribe now. Share this with someone who is fighting quietly. And stay here, because what comes next may be the sentence that changes how you move through your life. Logan learned quickly that hell has layers. The first layer is pain. The second is repetition. Doing the hard thing once feels heroic. Doing it again the next day feels pointless. Doing it for weeks with no reward feels unbearable. That is where most people turn back. Logan didn't feel special for continuing. He felt empty. But he continued anyway. His body resisted first. Muscles screamed. Sleep disappeared. Fatigue wrapped around him like chains. Then his mind fought back. You're doing all this for nothing. No one cares. You'll end up the same anyway. The voice sounded like truth. That is the danger. Hell speaks in familiar tones. It uses your own voice against you. Logan didn't argue with it. He didn't try to silence it. He moved while it talked. That was the shift. Action without agreement. Most people wait for the mind to approve the effort. Logan stopped asking for permission. Every step forward felt heavy. But heaviness stopped meaning wrong. Heaviness started meaning growth. Days became structured. Not exciting, not inspiring. Structured. Wake up, move, work, endure, sleep, again, again, again. There was no dramatic progress montage, just consistency grinding against resistance. And slowly something terrifying happened. The pain became normal. The suffering didn't disappear. It lost its power. What once felt impossible became expected. That is when hell changes shape. It stops trying to stop you. It starts testing your identity. Who do you think you are now? Do you really believe you're different? Don't get arrogant. Logan recognized this phase. It was subtle, dangerous. The temptation to relax, the urge to reward himself early, the whisper that enough had been done. But hell is clever. It doesn't attack when you are weak. It attacks when you start believing. So Logan grounded himself deeper. No celebration, no announcements, no validation seeking. He trained when bored. He worked when uninspired. He stayed disciplined when motivation vanished. This is where transformation actually happens. Not when you feel powerful, when you feel nothing and still continue. One night, exhausted, Logan caught his reflection again. The mirror no longer felt hostile. The eyes staring back were still tired, but they were steady. No shame, no avoidance. Recognition. He didn't see success. He didn't see victory. He saw reliability, a man who keeps promises even when it hurts. That was the moment Logan understood something few ever do. Hell is not punishment. Hell is refinement. It burns away fantasy. It destroys excuses. It leaves only what is real. And what remained in Logan was something stronger than confidence. Certainty. Certainty that no matter how heavy life became, he could carry it. Certainty that pain was no longer a signal to stop. Certainty that quitting was not an option, just a thought. The world outside had not changed yet. Results had not caught up. But Logan had crossed a line. He was no longer trying to escape hell. He was using it, and that is when hell realized it was losing. Hell does not collapse when you stop fearing it. It adapts. The resistance became quieter. The chaos retreated, and in that silence a new danger appeared. Comfort, not the soft kind. The deceptive kind. Logan noticed it in the small choices. Skipping one discipline because he earned it. Delaying one hard task because he was consistent now. This is how hell tries to reclaim you, not through pain, through permission. Logan caught it early. Because hell had taught him awareness, he remembered the man who couldn't stand his own reflection. He remembered the numb nights, the promises broken before sunrise. That memory became fuel. He sharpened his standards again. Not higher, stricter. No matter the mood, no matter the energy. The work got done. This is when the shift became visible to others. People noticed without understanding. You've changed. You're different. Logan didn't respond. External validation is a test, not a reward. Inside, the pressure increased, because growth always attracts heavier weight. Life didn't get easier. It got more demanding, more responsibility, more expectation, more risk. This is where many break. They grow strong enough to stand, but not strong enough to lead themselves under pressure. Logan leaned into it. When fear rose, he stayed still. When uncertainty hit, he slowed down. When panic tried to rush him, he refused to move emotionally. This was the deeper lesson of hell. Control is not aggression. Control is calm under threat. He stopped reacting. He started choosing. Pain still existed. Doubt still appeared. But neither had authority anymore. Logan understood something ancient, something brutal, something true. The mind does not need peace. It needs command. He became disciplined with his thoughts the same way he trained his body. Observe, acknowledge, move anyway. No inner dialogue, no negotiation. Action replaced emotion. And then came the moment hell throws at everyone who dares to walk through it. The test of loneliness. The higher Logan climbed, the fewer people walked beside him. Old connections faded. Comfortable conversations died. Noise disappeared. At first it hurt. Then it clarified. He realized most people don't want growth. They want relief. Logan wanted evolution, so he stayed alone without becoming bitter, focused without becoming cold, driven without becoming desperate, strength without ego. That balance is rare, and hell respects rarity. The days blended into months. The struggle didn't end. It matured. Logan stopped measuring progress by results. He measured it by response. How fast he regained control after being shaken. How quickly he returned to discipline after disruption. How calmly he moved when pressure spiked. This is mastery, not dominance over others. Dominance over self. The old Logan would have panicked at this level of intensity. The new Logan functioned inside it. Hell no longer screamed. It watched. Because hell only exists to test if you are real. And Logan had become real. Not motivated, not inspired, forged. And somewhere deep inside, something unlocked. A quiet power, a grounded presence, a certainty that could not be shaken by outcomes. Win or lose, praise or silence, chaos or calm, he would move forward. Because hell did not make him unstoppable. It made him inevitable. Inevitability changes the way the world reacts to you. Not loudly, subtly. Opportunities don't announce themselves. They lean closer. Challenges don't threaten anymore. They reveal. Logan noticed that problems which once felt overwhelming now felt solvable. Not easy, solvable. Because fear was no longer running simulations in his head. Because doubt no longer hijacked his nervous system. Because urgency had been replaced with clarity. This is what hell actually trains. Not strength. Not toughness. Decision under pressure. Logan moved with fewer words. Less explanation. Less justification. He didn't need to be understood. He needed to be aligned. The world tests alignment relentlessly. One unexpected loss. One sharp betrayal. One moment where everything you built feels threatened. It came, not dramatically, precisely. A failure that cut deeper than the others. Not because of pain, but because of timing. Old Logan would have collapsed, would have spiraled, would have questioned everything. This Logan stopped. He breathed. He assessed. And then he moved again. No anger, no self-pity, no retreat. That was the moment hell released him. Not with applause, with indifference, because hell only holds those who react. The calm that followed was unfamiliar. Not excitement, not relief. Stability. Logan realized something that would have terrified his old self. He didn't need chaos anymore to feel alive. Silence no longer scared him. Stillness no longer felt empty. It felt powerful. This is when leadership begins. Not leadership over people, leadership over moments. When others rushed, he slowed. When others panicked, he focused. When others froze, he acted. Not perfectly, decisively. The inner fire was still there, but it burned controlled, a blade, not a wildfire. Logan stopped chasing purpose. Purpose emerged through action. He showed up early, left late, spoke when necessary, acted always. This consistency created gravity. People leaned toward it, trusted it, followed it without being asked. Logan didn't command respect. He embodied it. And then came the final realization. Hell was never a place. It was a process, a filter. It removes the fragile, exposes the false, refines the willing. Logan was never special. He was just unwilling to escape early. He stayed when it burned. He moved when it hurt. He chose discipline when emotion begged for comfort. And now, standing in a life that once felt unreachable, Logan did not feel victorious. He felt grounded, because victory is loud. Grounding is permanent. The fire inside him didn't go out. It learned how to wait. And that is the most dangerous kind of fire there is. Because it does not need permission. It does not seek attention. It does not burn out. It endures. And if you are listening to this, feeling that pressure in your chest, that quiet pull toward something higher, understand this clearly. You are not broken. You are not late. You are not weak. You are being forged. And hell is simply asking one question. Will you stay long enough to become real? Staying long enough changes your posture before it changes your life. If this voice is sharpening something inside you, subscribe now, share this with someone who needs strength, and stay here, because this message is no accident. Logan began to notice it in the smallest details. The way he walked into rooms, the way he listened instead of rushed, the way he no longer needed to prove anything. Pressure used to feel like a threat. Now it felt like weight training. Every obstacle became resistance. Every delay became conditioning. Every disappointment became instruction. This is when hell completes its work, not when you escape suffering. When suffering stops shaping your emotions. Logan still felt pain. He just didn't obey it. He still felt fear. He just didn't consult it. That distinction changes everything. Most people live reacting. Logan lived responding. And response requires space. Space between stimulus and action. Space hell carves with fire. The world tested him again. Harder this time. Higher stakes, not survival. Identity. He was offered shortcuts, easier paths, comfort disguised as opportunity. Old Logan would have taken them, grateful just to be chosen. This Logan paused. He measured the cost not in money but in integrity, and he said no. That single refusal echoed louder than any victory, because discipline is loudest when temptation is strong. From that moment on, Logan stopped fearing loss, because he knew exactly what he would never trade again. Self-respect. That is the currency hell teaches you to protect. You can lose money. You can lose status. You can lose time, but once you lose respect for yourself, everything else collapses. Logan protected it fiercely. No excuses, no self-betrayal, no silent compromises, and slowly, inevitably, the external world began to align, not magically, mechanically. Consistency compounds, character attracts, presence commands. Logan didn't chase success. He became stable enough to hold it. That is the final transformation. Not hunger, capacity. The calm inside him was no longer fragile. It was reinforced. Stress didn't crack it. Chaos didn't shake it, because hell had already tried everything and failed. Logan understood now why most never make it through. They want the reward without the refinement, the strength without the burn, the identity without the trial. But there is no other way. Fire is the price. And if you are still listening, still breathing with this voice, understand this clearly. You are not behind. You are not cursed. You are not weak. You are in the furnace. And the furnace does not destroy what is real. It reveals it. Stay, move, endure. And when the world finally sees what you have become, remember this. You were not saved. You were forged. Logan's hell did not end with applause. It ended with understanding. The understanding that life does not hand you courage. It does not hand you discipline. It does not hand you clarity. Life tests you. Life burns you. Life forces you to choose. And in that choice, in that quiet, in that relentless trial, you discover who you really are. You discover that fear is optional. For that hesitation is optional. That surrender is optional. You discover that the only thing standing between you and the life you deserve is the decision to move when you feel like stopping. Logan made that decision, again and again, not because he felt ready, not because he felt strong, but because he refused to remain the man he used to be. And today he is no longer defined by his hell. He is defined by his endurance, by his control, by the unshakable fire that no circumstance, no setback, no betrayal, no obstacle can ever extinguish. And this is the truth I want you to carry with you. Your hell will come. It may be silent. It may be blazing. It may shake the foundations of everything you thought was certain. But it does not last forever. It lasts only as long as you let it. Stay in the fire long enough, move through the darkness fully awake, refuse the shortcuts, and your hell will not destroy you. It will forge you. It will refine you. It will transform you into someone the world cannot ignore. And more importantly, someone you cannot betray. So rise, stand up, move forward, because the world does not wait. Time does not pause, and your potential will not forgive hesitation. If this story has sparked something in you, if it has reminded you of the fire waiting inside, then take action. Subscribe to this channel now to fuel your journey. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it today, and join a community of warriors who refuse to remain ordinary. Because strength is contagious, courage is teachable, and endurance is unstoppable when we face it together. Logan survived his hell, and so can you. Now step into your fire and let the world see the unbreakable you.